To wrap up this week, I'm going to give you what I like to do is the required reading slash listening for every week. Going forward, obviously this week is the first week. Um, Most of you guys who've been following me, the people who've been following me, listening to my podcast, um, follow me on Facebook, social media, get my emails. I'm very big on reading and increasing my industry IQ is what I call it, just by learning new things about business, studying business, um, mindset, and things like that. The books that I recommend that you guys start, if you haven't read, before you even, make one investment, one more investment into your company or to your business or to into entrepreneurship, the book that I would suggest first is the E Myth. Um, Very important book. It'll change your whole perspective on what it really looks like to run a business, what to expect, how it's going to change your life, how it's going to change the lives of the people around you, and a roadmap to do it the right way. Um, the book is big on delegating, hiring, training, systems, and things of that nature. So I think a lot of times we get into entrepreneurship, we feel like we could do everything. We're excited, so we want to do as much as we can, but there's only so many hours in a day, and your company cannot grow if it's a one man army. So you need help. You need to understand the importance of getting help sooner than later. Overcome those fears because there are fears. If you never hired anyone um, directly, or you never, no one ever worked under you per se, even if it's in somebody else's organization, it's still not the same. I feel like hiring and having that responsibility of having somebody else on your payroll is definitely a challenge to overcome in your mind if you're something you never did. I say this because I've dealt with it early on until you start to realize like this is the only way and it's the best way to add value to their lives, increase your company, and get more done. It's pretty basic stuff, but um, going from employee to entrepreneur is a big step, and you need as much information to get you there as possible. So the E Myth, the 4 hour work week, kind of breaks down how to goes a little deeper and a little bit more creative ways to think about delegating. Contagious, a great book about marketing, The Millionaire Fast Lane. Another book about kind of just the mindset and what to expect and what to look for and in your journey for in entrepreneurship. The 10x rule is very important to me, and I have some notes, and I'm gonna go over some notes from some of these books and discuss them here on the lessons and the training in the coming weeks. The 10x rule, it's about understanding that the efforts that you think you have to do to get the results that you want, you have to go 10 times that usually to get the results that you thought you want. So if you want 5 clients this month for your home care service, what you think that you need to do to get 5 clients, you need to times that by 10. And that's just the whole mindset. It's a great way to think. It's a great way to increase your efforts, um, and just kind of start thinking different about getting your company out there. Usually, he talks a lot about obscurity. How the biggest challenge for most small companies is just you have a great company, you have a great idea, you prepared to give great service, but nobody knows you exist, and that's the only challenge. So he talks about it, and I talk about it. The importance of you know getting yourself known in your marketplace, developing great relationships, and everything doesn't cost money. It's just a lot of sweat equity, a lot of time. Things, emails. You could do phenomenal things with email, which is free for the most part, and phone calls, which is everybody usually has unlimited calls. Talk on their cell phone plans in 2020. So it shouldn't be no excuse why you can't be making, or somebody in your organization can't be making um, a lot more calls, sending out a lot more emails, developing a lot more relationships. And that's kind of like what I've got from the book and what I think is important in the book. And I definitely want you guys to read it. Relentless. This is more like a mindset book. This is a guy that trained Kobe Bryant to become the Black Mamba. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Sometimes when I present some of this stuff to the people, I don't know how they're going to take it, but I just know what the book did for me. It's going to turn you into a savage. You want to be a savage. You want to be gritty. You want to be hard. You want to be relentless. You want to you want to be willing to go to the edge of your capabilities to get the results that you think you want, or you saying that you want. And that's when I go back to the 10x rule. You think you want these results, or you want these results in front of you. Okay, I want to start $1 million company. I want to generate, $15,000-$20,000 this month, or whatever the goal is. The mindset that you're operating in obviously can't get you there, because if it did, you would already be there. So you have to start to develop a new mindset, a new way of thinking, and get some new purposes and some new motivations, and be able to dig into those motivations, tap into some of your nature, some of the parts of your human nature. Anger, sometimes, it's not always pretty. It's certain things that made me angry as a child that I could use as fuel to keep me going. It's certain things that people said to me, teachers, grandparents. You're not gonna do nothing. You're this, you're that, and it's like when I want to quit, I can replay some of those tapes, some music I can listen to. Some of the things I can think about just going on in the world socially. That I could tap into to regenerate the energy and the motivation and the excitement and the hunger to get me through whatever challenge that I'm facing, or to get out there and face some fears. Because there's going to come times where you're going to be tested. Your motivation is going to be tested. You're going to feel alone. You're going to feel beaten down. And you want to have a process, a system for getting up out of that, getting yourself through those mental hurdles, jumping those mental hurdles, or getting yourself around your own mind for the most part. So I think that's a book that I read it probably every 90 days. It's not long at all. I listen to it actually. I listen to most of my books instead of audible.com, instead of reading them, because I can do other things while I'm reading it. If it's a real information heavy book where I have to focus, I'll get the book and listen to it and then take notes inside the book. So I'll be listening to it and reading it. But for the most part, these books aren't, they aren't, highly intellectual texts that you have to, really like focus on. You can still get the information, take some good notes while you're listening. But and then finally, The 1 Minute Manager, another great book for just when you do start to hire people and people become, under your employ, you want to do it right. You don't want to, you're going to make some mistakes, but you want to minimize those mistakes, and you want to create a program and a system that allows them, the employee, to shine and to feel good about themselves and want to do good with the organization and have, a good attitude about the organization. And and these are skills that if you don't develop them or you don't learn them, where are you going to get them from? You're not getting them at a corporate job unless you're in the management department or you some HR. I don't know, but you have to reach into the literature that's available and get the information that you need to become a successful entrepreneur, business owner, and such. So the 1 Minute Manager is very important for just getting some ideas on how to be a better leader, a manager, how to empower employees and the people that you work with. And then, a lot of these strategies transfer into the home life when you're thinking about your children and stuff like that. So, those are some great books I would suggest. Another book, Close the Deal, the Sandler Sales Institute, 7-step system for successful selling. number 2 here on the slide. I set this aside. I made this its own category, its own list, because it's so important. Sales is the foundation of your success in business. If you can't sell, if you don't have a system for selling, if your organization is not learning how to sell, you're not learning how to sell. You're not teaching the people who are on the phone how to sell and how to position conversations for a better closing. This is making it easier for the person that's going out to close those sales, close those consultations. You will not win. And again, if you don't have this information, if you haven't spent years in sales, or you've been trained up in sales, or you've been reading and studying sales, you just don't have this information. Close the deal. The Sandler Sales Institute 7-step system for successful selling. It's an audio book, and it usually comes in CDs. I don't even think they have it in. They might have it on Amazon. On Audible, but I have the CDs. And this isn't the end all to be all. This is just the beginning for your sales journey. Become a great salesperson, salesman, saleswoman. Become a great salesperson. Study Sandler. Everything that you can find and you can afford, get it, read it, learn it, get good at it. I have some more notes, just like I was saying about the 10X. I have some notes that we're going to cover later on from some of the books I read of him. That's going to help you guys understand more of what I'm saying about sales systems and strategies and stuff like that. But definitely get his book. Look at it. Once you get into a place in your business, they have actual Sandler sales training centers all across the country. These little sales centers that people don't even know exist right in their backyard. That some of the strongest companies in your community are using or tapping into to close deals, to become better salesmen, to become better mentors and leaders of salespeople. Because at the end of the day, you're not doing business if you're not selling and you're not closing. So you have to learn how to sell. You have to learn how to close. It's a language. It's a mindset. It's a whole world unto itself. So start now. Start early. I learned about sales 3-4 years later, and I just thought marketing. If I just do marketing, and people are calling. It was great. Marketing for me is everything up until the phone rings. After the phone rings, and when you pick up that phone, marketing is done. You had a successful marketing campaign. The selling begins. So that's my perspective on when selling starts. Is when that phone rings and whoever answers that phone, that's when the sales process starts. So think about sales, study sales, the Sandler sales, the Sandler training programs, all his literature online. It's great. I think it's the best. There's other people out there doing it, obviously. I learned about Sandler through a very successful investor, multi-million-dollar investor. Accidentally told me about Sandler training because he was kind of like, oh, man, I didn't want to give up that, because we were kind of in the same industry. But once he figured out, he told it to me and I took action. He was happy for me, and he told me what to do and how to really get the most out of it. So I'm sharing it, guys, with you to really start spending some time thinking about sales, becoming a better salesperson. And if not for yourself, have somebody who's whoever's in your organization, a partner, a managing partner, not somebody you just employed, but somebody who's going to be there. Somebody who's really invested in the success of your company, to also study sales if you don't have the time or bandwidth at the moment. But I feel like everyone should have the basics of sales. So there's some other podcasts. Obviously, I got my podcast, the Home Care and Assisted Living Business Series podcast, on Apple and Spotify and everywhere else. But I've been getting a lot of feedback from that. People are loving it. Go ahead and check that out. Then you got the Cardone Zone. That's the 10X guy, Grant Cardone. You got Gary V. I'm sure everybody, if you have YouTube, if you've been on YouTube in the last 2-3 years, you've seen Gary V. And then the Sales Hacker is another great podcast. So this week I'm not saying read all of these books, but these are just a couple that I'm going to put out there to recommend more than require. What I do require, if you haven't read it, is the E-Myth, the first book here on the list. And yeah, let the learning begin. Watch. I look forward to the development of you guys' minds and intellect and ideas and creativity coming from these readings, because books take shape in everybody's mind differently, and we all use them and come up with different strategies in our own creative ways. So uh, hopefully you enjoy this list, and hopefully to get some great feedback. Another thing, please give us as much feedback, in the comment section below, so we can, not only just, help you, but start a great conversation on each of these topics, on each slide, on each point of the training. So we really look forward to working with you guys and hearing your feedback and really helping you guys go forward. I really want you guys to make some leaps and bounds with this program. This is going to be my most comprehensive program yet. I'm going to be available to you guys. I want to make sure we're doing conference calls. I want to make sure we're following up on the comment sections. We're keeping these conversations alive and active, and really making some progress in everyone's individual lives who participate, including mine. So yeah, these are the required reading. Let's get to it.